Hi Sherry, thanks for coming to Super Thinking Plus Spanish course. What did you think of the course?
Es muy maravilloso.
Well, when I started, as with most other groups, I'm a little bit apprehensive, and I thought that might interfere with the performance, the learning, and I was very surprised at all. It was very relaxing, very friendly, like no pressure at all. What I've learned here, it was a quick learning process, and the techniques that I learned I know I'm going to be using every night since I want to learn Spanish. I feel like I have the ability to understand most of what I need to understand is going on. I'm not worried about going to Ecuador so much. And I know that in a very short time, I'm going to polish this up in a big way just because of the techniques are very easy. And I mean, I can sit down for a few minutes a night and do this. So I'm very pleased. I would recommend it.
I found the course extremely helpful for someone with my personality. It was very relaxed. The meditations completely open you up. I found that I had to undo a lot of what I've had in my previous studying of Spanish. I've always been trying to be structured. I also write rather structured, so hence I've approached Spanish in the past in a way that I wanted to be correct, and I tried to do a lot of the grammar. But what we've learned in this course is to enjoy the language, to realize that whether I use the infinitive verb and I don't have exactly the correct tense, I can convey a message. And in conveying messages, I'm conversing. And when I converse, I'm going to be happy because I'm enjoying the culture. So it was especially and particularly beneficial to me because I do travel a lot, and Spanish-speaking countries is, some of my main targets. So I would recommend it for anyone.
Well, I must say day one, the morning of day one, I was a little skeptical, to be honest. I didn't think it was what I thought it was or it was going to work. But by the afternoon of day one, I was really engaged and completely into it. I was into it, like right into it. So, and that was the end of day one. This is the end of the course, day three, and boy, oh boy, it's amazing. Last night for homework, you asked for some sentences based on the information we learned during the day. And for the first time after taking Spanish for a number of years, for the first time, I actually wrote the sentences. They just flowed. They just flowed right through my pen. And I have no idea how or why it's so different than my formal Spanish education. This is amazing. It just flowed. And they made sense.
Well, it's kind of an innovative way for me to learn something like that. Usually languages, it seems so complicated when you have to learn all the different tenses, and it was a nice, simplified, very relaxed way to learn how to get along in another country and speak, just to be able to get along in a country when you first arrive. You don't have to remember all the different complicated Spanish words. So it's nice to be able to know that you can start off just making sense of the simplified Spanish language.
I think the thing that made such a big difference for me was the relaxed attitude all during the course, which actually promoted and accelerated my learning it. Because I have taken Spanish 101 maybe 2 or 3 times, and nothing ever stuck. And so now I have a lot of things that are anchored in, and I feel a lot more confident about my plans to travel in Spanish-speaking countries. I got a lot of practical tips in addition to very much expanded vocabulary, and I'm so relieved that I don't have to conjugate those verbs. I'm really delighted about that. So all in all, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm really looking forward to taking what I've learned over this weekend out into the field. So So thank you very much.
The reason I wanted to take this course is I work in Hispanic countries like Cuba and Ecuador and Suriname somewhat, and I always needed to know, how to communicate just on a very basic level, and this has been very helpful for me. It's kind of helped me connect the dots and helped me think in terms of just using connecting terms and not having to worry about conjugation and all the correct grammar, but just communicate. And I think the way the course is taught is very beneficial. It's been very useful, and I think it's sort of expanding my brain.
I like the term suitcase Spanish. I had not heard that term, but it gets the job done, which is the primary purpose of this. I find myself, even today, being able to improvise and come up with sentences in my head. In fact, I woke up this morning kind of having a mock conversation in my head about Spanish, basically about the lunch we had yesterday. So I think that was really where the light came on about where I was able to, how valuable this learning Spanish in this way did, being able to improvise in my head after only 3 days.
I had an excellent experience. What I really liked about the course, the best analogy I can draw, it's like building a house. It gives you a good foundation. And from there, you can really build on this course. I absolutely loved it.
I quite honestly didn't know what to expect. We're planning our first trip to Ecuador in the fall, and I've never had any Spanish. Andrew had some years ago in high school and really doesn't speak any Spanish, so we thought, could it be possible to learn enough to even communicate in 3 days? And I'm impressed that we can put together almost any basic kind of phrase. It's not going to be perfect grammar, but it is incredibly usable Spanish with an amazing number of vocabulary, and it's going to solve all of our communication issues. So we're anxious to give it a try. We're going to practice for the next few months until we travel.
I came to the course with pretty high expectations, and overall it has exceeded my expectations. Mark and Daniela have been wonderful. The pronunciation of Daniela, being from Bolivia, was super helpful. I've gotten a lot out of the course. The music is a surprising part of it, and I have really enjoyed it. I could not more highly recommend this.